Thanks for coming to another ramble. Before I start these things, I think to myself, like, how am I going to begin this talk? Like, how am I going to begin this video? And what am I going to talk about, and why am I going to talk about it? Like, in my mind, it's easy to think about these things as they come because there's no rules in my mind. Like, there's no PC. I don't have to be politically correct. I don't have to worry about not offending anybody in my mind. I don't have to think about if what I'm thinking is too far. I just think it. Now, putting it into action, that is certainly another discussion. But it definitely makes things a little bit more challenging when it comes to trying to make something public or put something in a public space. Um, but moving forward, I guess something that I was thinking about right now was I'm reading it off this note, so I keep looking down. Um, a wise man once said, "What is the value of the words of a statement from anybody?" Like when I reflect on my life and I think about all the wisdom that was given to me, in a way, it was almost pointless because it took years before any of it started clicking. Like I heard so much information. I mean, I have had mentors galore, if that's how the statement goes. I mean, starting, I don't want to like, I don't want to put it into any time frame because I feel like if I'm too strict on the time frame as to when the mentors in my life began showing up, I feel like I'll be disrespecting anybody who ever came to me before this time frame. But for whatever reason, it's more noticeable to me starting from about 12 years on and up. Like, I mean, I had a friend of mine, one of the first people I met when I came to a different city, not too far from where I was before, but it was still new to me. Uh, Him and his family, his father and his mother were huge, man. Like they saw like just this little boy, and for whatever reason, they decided to water the seed. Like the last video that I recorded and I put up, I think was about isolation and the dark, and reflecting upon how you were treated as you grew up. And if it was poorly, if you have any resentment, damn fly, to try not to hate the world or hate anybody in it, but to try to go the other way and create an environment for people who could grow. And that's exactly what my friend's family did. And I don't know their history to that extent. I mean, to this day, if I seen them, they would see me, they would recognize me, I would recognize them. We may not necessarily hang out, but man, I have a very great appreciation for what they did. In a way, I feel like I owe them. I don't know how I can pay them back. I don't. I don't have enough money, that's for sure. Uh, I mean, if there's anything I can do, probably pay it forward. But just again, it's just mentor after mentor started popping up when I used to go play basketball. And I mean, I remember walking home from playing basketball and just some random dude who I might have seen at like a grocery store on the way back would stop and talk to me. And he would give me wisdom. Like I can't remember anything specifically that was said. I mean, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. Like that was a while ago. So a lot has happened between now and then. But I mean, even when I was inside of Barnes and Noble, just a random guy coming up to me and being like, hey young man, what are you doing? What are you looking to read? And just, pointing me in the direction of some material for me to consume and to consider. Um, and I went on to buy some books and purchased some material, some of which I still haven't read. I mean, I didn't buy these things when I was 18. I mean, I don't know when I bought this material that I have, how long I've had it, but some of it I certainly have not read. Others of it I've definitely read it from front to back. Still couldn't give a book report on it. I think I could speak about it though, like if you showed it to me. I could give you a general idea of what it was about. Some other books, like I just skimmed through, maybe I read a chapter, maybe I read a page, but the whole idea is that all of these sources of material provided some sort of wisdom to me. And so it's like in the beginning I said, a wise man once said, and I don't want to, we live in that age, so like I don't want this, it doesn't necessarily have to be a man, but like for the sake of reference, just work with me. um, and I chose to leave the remaining aspect, the remaining part of that quote to be blank because like it's up to the individual who's observing this wise one speak. It's up to the individual observing to conclude the value of any of these statements. Now, like the value of the wisdom exists outside of the perspective of the observer. However, if the observer cannot determine the value of these statements, then in the world of the observer, the wisdom was virtually useless. It may as well be useless. It's not all the way, but like if the mind's not ready to receive it, what good is it? I mean, how many years did humans live on this planet and not know about the resources that we had in front of us? I mean, that's a whole nother land of conversation, and I don't know who can jump in these comments and talk about, oh, well, this, that, or the other. Look, man, I don't know. Using it for reference. Don't hold me to it. But I mean, it takes a lot for it to finally click. And I think that's why I talked about isolation. Um, Not total isolation, because I think that can drive a person mad. I mean, it can take a person to a place of hate, and that's not something that I recommend anybody do. But I guess maybe the best thing I can do is just ask the question because I can't give an answer on this. Like many of my videos, I feel like anything that I say, or much of what I say, I cannot speak definitively about it. I can't speak with absolute authority. All I can do is bring the question to mind and hope that if there's anybody who is viewing my material will consider the questions that I pose, which will lead them to the well, which they can drink from, and figure out how to properly make use of the resources around them. You know, the solitude, isolation, darkness, mentorship, huge. Mentorship is huge. Um, Even if it's just in passing, man, just those words that you say to somebody in passing, man, you got to spread the hope because the opposite can take over the world very fast. I mean, it can take months to build a house, build a home, and it can take minutes to an hour. I don't know exactly how long it takes, but it don't take a fraction of the time for the whole thing to be burned down. And hate is a fire that will destroy the home, this home that we built where we have civilization. We can go to the store in peace and not have to worry about ourselves or anybody that we care about. I mean, granted, there are some exceptions, but generally speaking, we have a home. So, don't, all I can do is just try not to spread the fire. And I feel like maybe I'm going too far off. Um, I don't want to paint a picture or like I'm high and mighty or I'm like just this innocent fella because surely I have my shortcomings and I want to be as real as I can possibly be. I mean, I don't know. Um, I don't know. But anyways, again, I'm gonna review this video, but before I decide to post it, but quote just to contemplate is a wise man once said, Nothing, because it's up to the individual who is observing to conclude the value of his wisdom.